First tonight, calls for additional funding to support Tasmania's vulnerable children. Investigations continue into the deaths of 12 penguins found in a garbage bin at Low Head. The Greens announced their candidate joining the battle for Braddon. Spy drama in Canberra. While there's bipartisan support for new espionage laws, government MPs remain divided over whether there's an immediate threat. 2 men charged over the alleged arson of a Mowbray property. And the water warning for Tasmanians this long weekend.
Live from our Tasmanian headquarters, this is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. Tasmania's child protection funding has come into question today as the hand down of the state budget draws closer. But concerns also raised that politicians from all sides continue to play the blame game rather than getting on with the job.
The time for talk is over. Tasmania's peak social service body today urging politicians on all sides to work together to protect vulnerable children amid talks of budget funding for the sector.
While we're arguing about workers and workers' numbers, we should be actually asking children and young people, what is it that will help to make your life a good life?
Michelle WISBEY, Southern Cross News.
An investigation is underway into how 12 penguins died at Low Head. The carcasses were found in a garbage bin in the area's coastal reserve and were collected by Department of Primary Industries Wildlife Rangers on Wednesday. The deceased penguins are now at Mount Pleasant Laboratories and autopsies are being conducted.
I'm horrified every time this story comes up. We've got to do a lot better. It makes me bloody angry actually that this is still happening.
Tasmania's future kindergarten students are set to be winners in next week's budget. The state government says $15 million over 4 years will go towards building brand new early learning facilities and major upgrades in dozens of schools.
They're some of our state's youngest students, and it's children like this set to reap the benefits of next week's state budget. Fourth Primary is one of the big winners and will have a brand new kindergarten building built in the next 4 years.
The Greens candidate for the upcoming Braddon by-election has been unveiled. Indigenous Ranger JARROD Edwards, who grew up in Wynyard, will run for the MHR seat. He says he'll campaign on issues like raising the minimum wage and increasing New Start allowance.
I've got a lot of people in my community and a lot of my friends that live in public housing and that can't afford to make ends meet and they really struggle to pay their bills, so I understand what it's like, so I'm really interested to help a lot of people in the area and of course advocating for the cultural and natural values of the area.
Mr Edwards will run against the Liberals' Brett Whiteley and Labor's Justine Kay. An embarrassing cabinet split has emerged over the federal government's new foreign interference laws. An attempt to expose Labor as too slow to act on national security has backfired, instead highlighting divisions between senior ministers.
The plan was to wedge Labor on national security. Instead, the government's given itself a reverse wedgie.
Donald Trump is feeling positive about next week's meeting with Kim Jong-un and might even invite him to the White House if it works out. The US president claims he's as ready as he can be to put the world at ease when he meets the North Korean leader in Singapore.
As the clock counts down to his historic first meeting with the North Korean dictator, Donald Trump's already looking forward to the second one.
Maybe we'll start with the White House. What do you think?
Well, for years you've known us as Southern Cross News, but tonight we have some exciting news for you. As of July 1, you'll be tuning into 7 News Tasmania when you join us at 6. But not to worry, it's just a name change. We're still the same crew, including Murph, with the same faces delivering all the latest news straight to your living room.
What it means is we're actually working closer with our 7 affiliates. We have the exact same team that'll be fronting our news 7 days a week, and also the same Great 7 programming, including football, and we're very excited this year to have the Big Bash coming on board.
The company ownership and Tasmanian staffing will remain the same. Well, stay with us. Still to come in our broadcast tonight. Scientists confirm they've found the building blocks of life on the red planet. Why a pilot had to make a dramatic crash landing on a busy freeway. And Mona launches its latest exhibit set to wow crowds. Welcome back. Tasmania's leading educators came together today to discuss just how they're going to equip students with the skills of the future. The CEDA conference in Hobart questioning what our educational institutions are doing to ensure young people will be able to gain work in coming years. Mona Museum is again set to intrigue crowds with its new exhibition Zero today opening for a sneak peek. Its founder David Walsh unofficially launching the latest drawcard, saying he'll continue to push the boundaries with his ideas.
Never reluctant to speak his mind.
Well, you know, you've never heard the phrase, come upstairs and see my etchings? This is very much come downstairs and see my etchings.
Tom Johnson will be joining us with a look at the day's sport news a little later in the bulletin as one of Launceston's favourite sons prepares for a milestone game. The come-from-behind effort keeping Rafael Nadal's French Open alive. And a winning start to Australia's tour of the UK. Those stories for you shortly, but first after the break we'll take a look at the day's headlines. And then, why department store Target is changing direction. And pieces of Tasmania's history on show. Welcome back everyone. These are some of the stories making headlines tonight. Calls for additional funding to support Tasmania's vulnerable children. Investigations continue into the deaths of 12 penguins found in a garbage bin at Low Head. Spy drama in Canberra. While there's bipartisan support for new espionage laws, government MPs remain divided over whether there's an immediate threat. And Tasmanians urged to be water safe this long weekend. More than 24 antique dealers are selling their wares at the Tasmanian Antiques Fair this weekend. The annual event winds back the clock, offering a range of rare items to buyers.
Paintings, prints, jewellery, glassware, china, silver, anything that you could sort of describe as an antique or decorative art is here in the hall.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has ended the week on a downbeat note on a day of low trading volumes as investors hold fire ahead of this weekend's G7 meeting in Canada. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 16 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 75.91 US cents and 108.15 New Zealand cents. Sport time now with Tom Johnson. Good evening, Tom. North Melbourne's coach isn't shying away from premiership talk.
No, not at all, Joe. In fact, Brad Scott's embracing it. I'll have more on that one after the break. Plus, Stuart McSwain breaks another Tasmanian record. And ice hockey's massive trophy goes to Washington. Welcome back. A North Melbourne great has declared the Roos can win this year's premiership. But rather than dismiss Wayne Carey's thoughts, coach Brad Scott is embracing them and says it's great his side is finally back in the conversation.
Brad Scott is bracing for an icy cold reception at the Cattery tomorrow, starting with his twin brother Chris.
Sam Lonergan has swung the axe at Launceston, making 5 changes after its shock loss to Lauderdale. But one of the club's favourite sons will play a milestone game in the clash against Clarence.
It's likely to be the tightest game of the round, a battle between the second and third place sides with an extra element of fanfare.
World number 1 Rafael Nadal is a step closer to winning a record 11th French Open title. Nadal came from a set down to defeat Diego Schwartzman in 4.
And you can see the reaction. This man owns this.
King Island's Stuart McSwain has broken the Tasmanian 10,000 metres record at the Oslo Diamond League meet this morning. In a photo finish, McSwain crossed the line in second, but his time of 28 minutes and 5 seconds means McSwain now holds the Tasmanian record in every distance from the mile to the 10,000 metres. And a sport of a different kind to finish off tonight. Tasmania is preparing to host the National Tractor Ploughing Championship. And as our local entrants will tell you, it's a sport demanding skill and superfine precision.
This paddock in Cressy is today a training ground. The churn of competitive ploughing rings 1 week out from the national titles.
And that sews up sport, Jo.
It does indeed. Thank you very much, Tom. Murph's up next with the weather.
Good evening. Bushy Park and Hobart, our warmest temperatures today. 18 degrees, Launceston and Burnie 15, Devonport a top of 16. Temperatures above average again for this time of year. Plenty of rain overnight, 50 millimetres at Lake Augusta, while 44 fell at Pine Tree Rivulet. Today though, a bit lighter, Devonport recorded 9 to top the list. Friendly Beaches 17 degrees, King Island, St Helens and Ouse 16, Flinders Island, Strawn and Low Head all 15 degrees. The strong northwesterly airstream pushed the cloud over Tasmania as a weakening front crossed the state. Most of the cloud, of course, they're off to the northeast. Rain is falling over South Australia, Victoria and New South Wales from the upper and middle level cloud that extended through those states. Low level cloud is following in behind the cold front. A broad area of high pressure will sit over much of Australia tomorrow, with centres over Victoria and New South Wales. A front moving into the picture well to the west. West to southwest winds up to 20 to 30 knots over the far south, easing in the afternoon. 10 to 20 knot winds over remaining waters will become more variable by evening, swells to 4 metres. And just a strong wind warning, that's for waters between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point. We kick off the long weekend in Hobart with a sunny day and a top of 15 degrees, 12 the high for Maydena, maybe a morning shower but that'll clear, a top of 11 for Oatlands and sunny there. For Launceston, morning fog and a sunny afternoon, 15 the top, 15 for Devonport, Lyawini a top of 8 degrees. Burnie mostly sunny and 15, a shower for Strawn, 14 the top, and Marrawar partly cloudy and 14 degrees. St Helens for the big festival on the weekend, 15 degrees, 15 for Swansea and Orford a sunny day and 15 as well, all looking good. On Sunday, fine again and mostly sunny apart from a possible light shower later over Devonport and Burnie. Another shower for the northwest on Monday but fine elsewhere after morning fog, and showers over the central and north on Tuesday, extending statewide in the evening. Showers and a late storm for Perth tomorrow, a shower clearing from Melbourne. Wet weather for Canberra and Sydney, a cloudy 23 in Brisbane. Little cloudy here as well, 12 degrees in Hobart, partly cloudy in Launceston, 12 and 12 degrees in Devonport. And Jo, our long weekend starts now. Woohoo!
It certainly does. Thank you very much for that, Murph. Have a great long weekend, everyone. We will see you a little later with updates though. Goodbye.